got more of an interesting sort of video today. Got some execution and as well as last month's sort of review. So this might be more of a lengthy one. And I just wanted to show you this gold trade I took a while ago, and sort of talk how sort of I thought about the way this was possible, and then go into sort of, you know, how last month sort of worked out. But mainly we sort of got this sort of you know, downturn in gold, selling through back foot sort of through this sort of low volume area, after, you know, I think if you fail into the upside, I can't remember what exactly the profiles look like, but the fact that we had value shifted, I don't necessarily take these sort of opportunities that much because it's sort of not necessarily sort of a guess, but I felt like the value, as we've had value back down here, we had two, you know, daily lows, you know, pretty much like a double bottom type sort of thing. So my sort of idea was we break out of this overnight range and then we break these levels, and then there was a low at 57 and another daily low I think at 40s. So that was sort of my targets on these. I don't necessarily run that all the way anyway. I sort of, you know, change my mind is something I do quite a lot. But what I was thinking is that value shifted, so I put an offer up in the morning, sort of high at 65 as it was. It was a single prints, and put, you know, I had a 15 tick stop. I put stop at 80s, which is sort of above this sort of real low volume point. So I think we've got rejection in there, and I feel like this overnight range, as soon as you're through the overnight range, you should then, you know, no reason why you shouldn't be down at these sort of lows, and you should then break those and then keep going. So that's how I was thinking. The fact as well that we've dropped, we've taken sort of out this sort of balance that we had at the top. So for me, there's no reason for you to necessarily trade back up unless you know, going to fail. So this is it on this was a 15-minute chart. So this is what we had. It's better to look at. This is what we had on the last 3 days. You got a ramp higher. I think that might have been might have been the ECB, I think. So then you had these two daily lows, and then you had the ECB, and then you had another rally higher, which then reversed, I think, was on the Friday. So then you've got another continuation, you know, the next day, and you come back sort of through the top of this, you know, you could, like a head and shoulders pretty much, pretty straightforward. And then you sort of get this overnight would have been here, and then you get that EU morning, which is there. So you've got this block, so which is good because then you're keeping value lower, is what I was thinking. Then I just put an offer back up the top, you know, with a good reasonable stop, and then you're looking for the break of the last, you know, the overnight lows, and then you're looking for the break of those two daily lows, which are reasonably together. And then you did have sort of a bigger trend line, I think I drew in, or a couple that I drew in. So I was just thinking overall, you've seen these so many times, you get tight overnight ranges, and then you're sort of breaking through. I think, I mean, it's only, you know, nearly 40 ticks worth of range, which is quite tight for overnight, and then you're trading all the way till 10 in the morning. I think that was from, I think that might be from 2 o'clock till 10. So you get quite a significant amount of trade. So then also you can kind of going down into sort of a 5 minute on how not necessarily selling there where I did. You've also creates a smaller block from on the top side, where then you get the breakout of the smaller block, similar to, say, you know, the giant one you're sitting in there. You sort of get a smaller one, which gives you sort of a preemptive entry, is what I thought. I didn't necessarily sell. This is where you could have put quite a lot of your, you know, size on in this area. So that's sort of my perspective, is that when you're sitting in there trading it, you've got these levels. As long as you're not then trading back higher, you can break back below out of the smaller sort of range, and then you're looking to attack those daily lows, which was pretty significant. I wasn't expecting it to drop as much as how quick it did, but that doesn't necessarily matter too much. So before I show you sort of the execution, I'll show the execution from sort of this area onwards, and then I'll try and fast forward it as quick as I can. Otherwise, I could show you the whole, nearly 3 hours of me sitting in this trade. But also, I sort of like preempt this move anyway. And also, when you're in it, then you can start watching the price action. Giving myself, I was willing to take the hit on this, and you're sort of getting two areas of the absorption that's failing to go higher. I was looking at this is obviously early in the morning, so you're getting these rotations which are higher volume than all the rest, and sort of these were the key sort of areas for me that I knew there was selling at times, but you didn't get what we got here, is where you actually managed to trade through. So these sort of lows, every time they come back to these lows, I was sitting there watching it just for something different from this time. When it came down this time, it came down with absolutely no effort whatsoever and just bidded straight back up. These times were okay. You got the selling, you're getting 100, 200 lots of selling going on, which is what you want to see. And then this time, I think I was more convinced, it's selling it, and as soon as you get back below sort of this low, you're just looking for something push through. I think there was 130 lots, I think, sitting there, I think at 53s, and you had another one at sort of the similar sort of size. So to me, I was sitting there going, as long as they get taken out, there's no reason why this thing can't break out. And then what you're doing is low volume, bit of consolidation, then you leave the low volume again, small bit, low volume again, the small bit, and then you get the pullback. And then the go ahead for the next move, that previous one, this is what you got actually after that, which I'm out there, which isn't the best option when it goes another 30 ticks through you, because I changed my mind on my exit points. So hopefully I've got this in the correct place. I watched it. So we're just looking at this one. As you can see, it's quite slow at normal speed getting down there. This is sort of the problem I had. It was just, I had the confidence in it that I'm not going offside or anything like that, considering I did. But what I was mainly looking at when you're trading down here, as long as you're getting some selling, if you're getting some size being trading down, the fact you had 150 and 188 on the bid, as long as those were going to get taken out, I was quite confident that watching the price action every time previously it was coming down, you wasn't getting sort of any energy at all. Selling was there, you were just getting something similar to this. But as soon as you've got this bit of size on there, the market's willing to take it out, which it eventually does. I'll try and fast forward it to the closer to the time. Oh, yeah. So as we're coming down, you're just looking for some change. Those 50, I was looking at 55s and 53s. You want to see some type of energy or something here. The second or the third time you're coming down, if this failed here, you sort of know that no one's willing to sell into these, you see. So now we're sitting here you're trading not much into it, one, and this doesn't give you the best of signs right now. And then you get that 132, you saw 132 trade straight in, and you trade straight out at 50s. So for me now, what I was looking for, as long as we're staying back below this area, the trade for me is on. You've got a small sort of area, low volume. Now you're out of that range. I'm willing then to sell more. I don't actually get filled at this point. So that was for me. So as long as we're now staying, like I say, below this sort of low volume area, now you're out that range. There's no reason why you can't now start to trade a bit lower, and we do sort of sit here for sort of 5-10 minutes, sort of rotating in between this sort of higher volume area. So you're just looking for a bit of. So now you can see the pace has picked up in this quite a lot. The pace has picked up, a different change from what you get up in this area. Now you're getting a different sort of price action. You're getting a bit more selling is coming in. As long as you're not seeing like one lots, you want. That's what I struggle with. I learned to be a lot more patient when you're seeing like one lots and lower lots being traded into prices. Is just to be a bit more patient as well. You get this 96 lot comes up. As long as then you're willing, then the market's willing then to trade out. It doesn't even trade it, pulls it. I think there. So as long as the size is willing, you got a few 50 lots on the offer as well, which has you a bit more. And now you're sort of selling 39s down, and then the market sort of slows up, and you can't seem to, and that then the 80 lot, it gives you that more conviction, and then you want to then see the market trade away like we do there. There wasn't no effort to there's no effort to trade higher. And now to me, I'm still on side well. As long as now you're not trading back above like the 50s or anything like that, then there's not necessarily no reason to keep dropping throughout. So obviously then we do spend a lot of time sitting here for another 5-10 minutes or so. I won't show all of the guys all of that. I try and do 1.5. 1.5 speed, and hopefully that can pick it up a bit more. But now obviously now we're trading a bit lower. I'm just sort of now looking for something. I always seem to struggle, well now this is the perfect time to not be 1.5 times. Making it. Right. As we saw there, you get a bit more of a pickup in volume that comes through. So you're still trading lower, which is fine. I'm always wary of, you pick up a bit of speed, which is what you want to see, and I end up selling 34s. And then I feel like this was a chance where I thought like you could have been full size in this. Selling another 2 more. I always worry selling into you see this low volume point, because I always find it creates a ledge, and this is what I was getting a bit nervous about. And then I was putting my offers out at those 2 daily lows, which for me in hindsight was completely wrong option to do. I shouldn't be getting out of these, should be waiting for the break of the low and holding. But you're looking for that rotation again. Once you get back to sort of this area, you want to see it then break. You want to see a bit of size come in. This is where I get nervous when it's not going to go. If that makes sense. It gets into this little low volume point, and now this is probably your time to start hitting some more. Once you start to see this come down, you want to see that. Sorry, the offer just reloading and coming back. So that sells 32. Then you want to see that sort of action. You want to see it take out this area. So it's just a bit of time being spent this is when I was getting nervous that you're starting to create a small ledge. And then eventually we do break lower at some point. So now it sort of holds. So now that was your time just then to sell, and then I get smacked out of 2. So that was my chance to sell 2 more, and then you just get this complete capitulation, and then I'm out all the way up here, and it goes another sort of 30 ticks or so. But what I'm trying to learn from that is that I was stuck in this trade for 3 hours. It paid off, pretty well. The patience of me sitting in there holding it for a much longer period and putting more size on than I would usually. But then, from watching it back, the error I could have clipped another 2 more into that low when it offered those 3 or 4 prices. It's just a different slight of price action change that you do get from that first time. Sometimes the market never offers it to you, but for me, and also while I was watching this, I was trying to watch all of these other markets at the same time. What we had is, good, on my other screen, I've obviously got all the DAX and Euro stocks and everything like that. But I was sort of seeing the bonds were going higher, SPU and the DAX and everything was coming off, but gold couldn't seem to follow the bonds at the same time. So we sort of had that issue. So I thought was confident as long as the gold wasn't making new highs, then I thought overall this could come off